And compared with the US, you can see that we were good in May. We were almost on the zero line. And in the recent weeks or recent months, we are over the US. So we are above the US. And by state, you can see that actually the US is, this is in terms of cases per 100,000 people, per 100,000 population. So the US average is about 12.6, and Hawaii, we now ranked 15th. Before August 3rd, Hawaii was the lowest in the nation among all the states. But now we rank the 15th in the nation. The one I marked yellow or orange, those are the states. I think there are 6 states. They sent the most visitors to Hawaii. And each state sent more than 200,000 visitors to Hawaii. So I want to see how those states are doing. Some of them are doing better than Hawaii. Actually, most of the Northeast states, they are doing good, especially if you look at the New York, New Jersey, I think they are doing good. So we have Texas sent a lot of visitors to Hawaii, and they perform worse than Hawaii. So talk about economic conditions. I have a table here to show a summary from the indicators. So the data are from April to July. So you can see the job count, the non-agricultural job count from Labor Department is decreased by about 18%. So this is talking about the pandemic period starting in late March, but the number will be comparable from April to July. So is a decrease. Unemployment rate from April to July are, we ranked the second highest in the nation, and the first highest was Nevada. So it's all tourism destinations. So unemployment rate 18.5%. The first 2 months, April, May, they were over 20%. And in June and July is about 13.5%. So, but average is about 18.5%. It is the historical high. We never experienced this kind of high unemployment rate. So this number is up. It doesn't mean it's good. It's actually is worse. And we look at the building permit between April and July this year, compared with the last year, the same period, decreased by 9.1%. So it means the construction is going to be, private construction is going to be slowing down in next year or next half year or so. Real estate is mixed. We see the real estate sales is decreased by about 37%. And we see the price is increased, the average price increased by 9%. So the price is still good, but the sales is really decreased, both for actually all 3 markets, local market, mainland market, and the international, they all decrease. There are not too many on the market. I think that is why the price is not dropping. So there is a lot of demand, but the listing is very little. There is a very little listing in the areas of, especially in Pearl City, Waipahu, Mililani. So those areas, when the house coming up, is very quickly to be sold. Look at the visitor arrivals. As Stan indicated, that is the major industry in the state is almost zero, but it's not zero. There are still a lot of people coming. On the average day, we have about 700 to 800 people, visitors. So it's decreased by 98.5%. So we still have about 1.5% visitors coming. And if you look at the state general fund tax revenue, decreased by 19.1% during this period. And I think this number will continue to decrease. The good news here, this is up. That is the good news. The federal government allocated about over $9 billion so far as of today So that helps Hawaii economy. I think a lot of money as a household income, like the unemployment insurance benefit, those PPP money, those ones, the paycheck stimulus paycheck, 1,200 per person. So those ones total about $9 billion. And those are great help to Hawaii's economy. Given all these, we just released our, so this, I'm going to talk about our forecast, but this shows, just look at it, the second quarter. This is this year and compared with last quarter. I said that the job count will decrease by about 17%. This total is about 118,000 jobs. You can see all the industries, and so far we still have a good two industries. One is the construction, is still increasing jobs, but the building permit decrease will reflect into the future. I think the construction may be slowing down into the future. The federal civilian jobs is still increasing, a small increase, about 100 jobs, but all the other industries decrease. Mainly is the tourism. If you look at the food and drinking places, accommodation, those are the two biggest decreases. State government decreases because of the school closed down. We do have those, the A+ program, and we lost all these A+ program employees. So given all these, our forecast for the third quarter is just released last Friday. You can see that we were forecasting the visitor arrival for this year is below 3 million, about 2.9 million. On a typical day, if you look at it, the 2019 is over 10 million. So we are, for this year, we are below 30%. So we decrease by about 30%, about 71.9%. So this is a decrease in the visitors, but there will be an increase, recover about 70% compared with 2019, over 7 million, then 8 million, then 9 million. So it takes about 6 years for the tourism industry to recover to the 10 million visitors, which is the 2019 level. So it's a long process. It is not like a lot of people say, thinking maybe V-shaped. It will go down quickly and coming up quickly in the next year or so, but it will take a long time to recover. Although we see an increase in 2021, but that is compared with a very low 2020. So I think so far we assume that the visitor, the Trans-Pacific visitor will be start to open in November. And we do see unemployment rate this year will be a double digit, about almost 11%. The economic growth, we never experienced this, will decrease by 12.3%. And after that, there will be around 1 to 2% is slow growth into the future. And we did a survey, partner with other 15 private entities, including all the commercial banks and the credit unions and the island business management company. These are the businesses we contacted in the beginning of July this year. And we asked the businesses, there's about 1,200 businesses responded to the survey. That is considered to be a pretty good sample, a large sample. And we asked about the business, their business operation status. So you can see that the last column never closed. So you can see that those business, about 40% never closed. That means during the month of April, about 60% closed. But by the beginning of July, that's only 16% remain closed. So that means 84% is already open or partially open. So the opening is actually, if you look at the agricultural sector, it's 100% open. It's all open. And then the construction, most of them are open. So the ones not opening is mostly is the tourism related, and the business management is those businesses. So when we look at we ask the businesses, what do they expect about their business? So 86% of the business said their revenue will decrease. So we have the magnitude, if decrease by 1% to 20%, up to over 50%. So you can see those number of businesses is almost 86% will decrease in the revenue in some degree. So there's about over 28% saying that their revenue will decrease by over 50%. There are some 4.7% will say no change, and there are 6.9% say they are going to increase in the business revenue. And when we talk about the rent, this is talk about the commercial rent. So mostly related to the commercial buildings. 65% of the business saying they paid in full, and about 25% said they paid partially, and 10.4% they didn't pay at all. So I think the survey we have seen by all the parties, like the Bureau, Census Bureau and UHERO, and it shows that we have 10% of the businesses still closed, and those have very difficult time stay in business. So I think if my estimate is that those 10% of business, I think they may close for business permanently. So I think it's consistent with this. About 10% of them, they never even pay their commercial rent for their business. And when we ask about their difficulties in business payment, we divide it into rent, employees, payroll, and operating expenses. So you can see that about 1/3 of them is saying that they have extreme difficulty in paying all these three, all rent, employees, operating. There is another 1/3 saying they have a medium difficulty. So there is about 10% saying they have no difficulties. I think we are planning to go back to do another survey sometimes in October, and to see how our businesses are doing in Hawaii. Those businesses are the business with employees. The whole statewide number of employer businesses is about 33,000 businesses in the state. So we are going back in October to do a survey, and if there is a chance, I will report to you about how our businesses are doing in the future, in the near future, when we complete the survey. I believe this is my last slide, and I will go back to Stan.
All right, thanks, Eugene. That was awesome. And are there any questions for Eugene at this point? Well, I don't see anybody waving their hand frantically, so I assume not. But like I said, Eugene's one of the few economists that can actually keep me concentrating for more than 30 seconds without my eyes rolling back. So thanks, Eugene. You do an awesome job.